Well, hello everybody. This is our first international episode of Retail Unscripted, and welcome back. It's already our seventh episode, so we're looking forward to proceed in our mission to bring this format to life. It is our LinkedIn Live and podcast event by Snabble, and today's guest is no other than the in the Netherlands famous Eelco Hos. And I'm very honored to have him on the show and talking about the differences between self-checkout and checkout in general between the Dutch stores and the German stores. Welcome, Eelco. Nice
Thank you
to have
very
you
much.
on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Eelco, we last met, it's been a while. I think we met at the Euroshop last year, not at the Eurosys. Probably you have attended the Eurosys, do you?
Yeah, I'm there every year. One not to miss.
Yeah. So, as everybody knows, unscripted means that we don't have a script, but we do have some questions that we will talk about. And as we proposed to you in the preview of the event, we will start today with looking at the different countries and talk about the differences from the most latest innovations in store checkouts that have been adopted by Dutch stores and German stores. Well, Eelco, for your part, what would you say? What are the most precious innovations in checkout that are part of the Dutch community in retail?
Yeah, I think what has been happening in the Netherlands is that self-checkout, and by self-checkout, I mean the hand scanner, the self-checkout, the customer scanning it themselves at the checkout payment tower, but also scanning with the app. It has been growing amazingly fast. I think 5 years ago, maybe 30% of the supermarkets, 35% at self-checkout, self-scan. I think we're close to a 90% now. And we see percentages of usage up to 90%. Now, luckily, we still have regular checkouts in store because having a choice as a customer is really important to me. Also for the Dutch supermarkets and retailers. So starting with the supermarkets, and now all other retailers are also starting to use it on a huge scale. Looking at health and beauty, non-food, clothing, do-it-yourself, it keeps popping up.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about self-checkout, and if you're looking at higher prices, you also talk about raising theft and shrinkage, and that's what we're pretty busy with at the moment.
Yeah. I know that you're one of the biggest experts in theft prevention in the Netherlands, and that a lot of brands contact you, somehow being disillusionized because it is really difficult right now, difficult times in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah. There has been theft. Always has been theft.
Yeah.
Also before self-checkout, theft has been there. But with the increasing prices, the economy is not thriving at the moment. And adding self-checkout to stores also has consequences for the theft percentage. So in the last 1.5 years, theft has been growing a lot. And that will not stop retailers to introduce self-checkout, because that's really important for several reasons. There has been, there's theft at self-checkout, there's theft in stores, and we need to get a better grip on that.
But it would have been my next question, because when we look at the US, there are some major brands who decided to get rid of self-checkout, at least in some stores, because of theft, because they said it isn't worth it. So you don't see this situation in the Netherlands right now.
Yeah, I think that's more or less the translation which has been available in the press. My first question is, how can you remove self-checkout if the only problem is theft? Because there's theft anyway. And of course, there is some influence for self-checkout, but it's never the main reason. And there's enough ways of getting rid of the theft, especially at self-checkout. And why you way back started with self-checkout, I hopefully that's for the right reasons, and that's for better customer satisfaction, easier shopping, almost seamless shopping, but also looking at the available space. Self-checkout is really, you can put a lot of checkouts in a small place. So what has been your reason? Was your only reason to cut costs? Then you might think, oh, the costs are going out of hand. But you want to do self-checkout from a customer's perspective. You want to do it for the number of square meters you have available to get easy in, easy out experience. That's your main reason. And if that's your main reason, then you have a really good reason to look at theft. And there's a lot of ways to prevent it. So it does not have to be so much worse with self-checkout, but you have to take the right measurements.
Yeah, totally agreed. I also would say that changing your mind isn't an option, because you already said that it's a customer experience, it's spacing. And I know what we're talking about. I always like to talk about spacing, like, because I'm playing basketball personally, and spacing in basketball is so important. And it's the same in the store, for the store team, to be efficient, be efficient in what you do. And this would probably be also our topic when we talk about self-checkout and other second checkout solutions. You already said that it's about kind of flexibility. Flexibility to offer those checkout options the customer needs, the specific customer or specific customer groups. Well, we've been talking about the Netherlands. So what is? I'm a little bit curious. I already have an opinion about Germany, but how about you? So you're from the direct neighbor, and you said that 90% of customers use self-checkout in the Netherlands. So what about Germany? What is your opinion, and what is the overall opinion about Germany and checkout solutions here?
Yeah, what the first thing that strikes me when I'm in Germany and I'm going to a bakery and I want to pay for my bread and my pastry and my coffee, I have to pay with paper money, and I don't have any money in my wallet.
Yeah,
and that's happening. A lot of people in the Netherlands don't have cash money anymore.
Okay.
So if you look at cash percentages, could vary. 85% of the transactions is done electronically, and that has a huge impact on your payment area.
Yeah.
If you have card payments, it's really easy to move to self-service. It's easy, it's cheap, it's fast. But also the complete design of your checkout processes, your money handling processes, they can be so much more efficient. But if you have a small amount of cash money and you do that, the cash money handling on the traditional way, it's way too expensive. So also transforming the whole cash handling part is also really important.
And why do you think this is the way? I think you asked me in advance if I had numbers about this. And now, as we are talking about now, I remember that I think about 40% in Germany are using still cash. Using cash. So it is decreasing. That's the good information, is that it is decreasing.
Yeah.
But there are still, I think, 35 to 40% who are using cash. I'm not sure about this, must be validated, but I mean that I saw this information in some studies. So what do you think? Why is it that, I mean, we are direct neighbors. Why is it that the Dutch people don't use cash and the German people use cash?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure if I can answer that. What's the interesting part, that even if we are talking about mobile markets, really small stores, even if you want a campsite and somebody is drawing pictures with the kids, also there we do electronic payments.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the price point, the electronic payments in the Netherlands are ridiculously cheap. I cannot go into figures, but it's ridiculously cheap. And cash money will never be able to compete with card if you look at transaction costs, etc. So there is a cost driver,
Okay.
definitely, and safety, safety issues.
Oh.
In stores, you don't want to work with cash money. It's just not safe for the staff.
Yeah, I have some information that I found that might be interesting for the German market. It's about self-checkout and self-scanning systems and the number of total stores that are using self-checkout or providing their customers with self-checkout and self-scanning. I mean, from 2021 to 2023, you see there is a progress right now.
Yep.
So the question here is, do they have cash handling on the self-checkout or do they not? I'm not sure about this. The statistic doesn't say something about this. But it is quite interesting that there is a shift in Germany, and there's something is happening towards more efficiency when it comes to checkouts.
No. Yeah, and interesting. I recognize these graphs only in the Netherlands. We were probably a few years earlier.
Yeah.
So what will probably happen in Germany, that we put all the self-checkout in the stores without the knowledge still being very mature. Probably in 1 or 2 years, there's a lot of panic in Germany. Oh, we don't have grip on theft. So what about the processes? What is happening here? Quite natural. You put it in the stores without all the experience you have. Maybe not even all the right KPIs or staff training or store layouts. So also here, left and right at retailers, there will be some unexpected things going on in store with staffing, with theft, with the ways you do anti-theft checks, with your KPIs and dashboards. So that will also follow probably the coming years to get more knowledge and learn as a retailer what will this bring and what things do I have to take into account when introducing this.
We do have an interesting comment from the audience. That is, I always compare it with the cosmetic debt. There's so much theft in that action, but still all grocery stores are offering it. There is a reason for that, and that's the same with self-checkout. What do you think about this comment by Sander?
Yeah, I think Sander's made a good point. The reason why you want to have self-checkout, the main reason, because your customers really want it. And that's the same with cosmetics in grocery stores. Customers really want it. Yeah. But of course, customers also want free shopping, and we're not giving everything free away. So you have to find the right balance. If you introduce self-checkout, you need to write you need to write solutions to do that in a good, well-controlled way, and that's the same with cosmetics. You cannot put cosmetics 35 euros in every store unguarded. Customers like it, but it's not always the wisest decision from a theft perspective. And way back 8 years ago, I started working with self-checkout. We introduced it in the first 100 stores. And we really started with the working assumption, there's no extra theft. We can trust our customers. They can make a mistake left or right. We do a random check and that's it. But 5 years ago, we did a theft analysis, and it started with a shrinkage analysis. And we find out it turned out to be a theft analysis because we knew how much things were stolen at self-checkout. And we were blown away. We were really naive, to be honest. So please embrace self-checkout, but don't be naive and take the right countermeasures.
Yeah. Do you think there's a difference between the customer expectations in the Netherlands and in Germany when it comes to checkout or self-checkout, and especially? Do you think what could be the differences, or would you be able to say it would be probably the same?
I think it's a bit the same what happened in England. England started, Netherlands adopted it earlier than Germany. So I think we will have the same learning curve at the end. I think in 3-4 years' time, customers really expect this, but it is in some way connected to the number of card payments versus cash. Cash really hampers the self-checkout process. And I know you have cash solutions for self-checkout, There are several reasons I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay.
And in some point in time, you might need it. If you have 85% self-checkout percentage in your store and you want to move to 100, then you need a cash solution.
Yeah.
But if you are at 40% and you have 15% cash, just leave it there. It's so expensive to add cash to your self-checkout.
It's interesting. With whomever I talk to about it, it is that I would come to the same conclusion, and that is my 3C approach. I posted, I think, a year or two ago, and 3C approach and checkout means that you will need to have the communication with your store staff and the customers for making it work. And the other thing is that you must be committed to the project.
Yeah.
And the last one is courage.
Yeah.
And courage means that you will need the courage to say, in this store, we only offer mobile payment. Or in this store, we only offer self-checkout.
Yeah.
So what's going on? I told you a little bit about the first episode of Retail Unscripted a few months ago, when we were talking to Sebastian Leinweber from Leinweber Bauzentrum. What he's doing right now is revolutionary for the DIY sector. It means he is offering his customers a simple and scan and go only store. There is no option. You will have to buy your stuff and pay with scan and go at the kiosk or via smartphone self-scanning. And the thing about this is he is in a position to say, I'm very sure that I won't have any issues with theft. And why is it so? Because it is a B2B scenario. So the people are dependent to what is going on there. So this dependency that you have and must buy in this store is probably somehow a good idea to look a little bit further on this. Create a more dependency so that people don't want to be caught, fraud caught.
I love bold statements and I love big leaps. But still, I'm from my perspective, you want to offer freedom of choice to customers. There are some retailers now working on checkout-less stores or only self-checkout stores without. And for supermarkets, it's not perceived well by the customers.
Yeah,
that's all that counts. And also, if you're in a do-it-yourself, there's a lot of cash there.
Yeah, it is.
And do you mind pushing those customers away if you don't accept cash? That's also your philosophy and how much you can take as a business. Can you run the risk of losing 20% of your customers, and do you mind if you lose those customers?
Yeah. The thing about the Leinweber use case is that he still has his regular stores as well, where the people can go and buy the stuff. And so they do have a choice. It's just the information that if you want to buy here in this particular store, then it's gonna go on you. So
it's an interesting experiment, and it's really. And did he open the store from scratch, or was it a regular store before, and did he transform it?
I think it was a regular store before, and he transformed it to a scan and go store. I'm not really sure about this, but I think it was a regular store before, and then he made it a hybrid store. And there are still employees on the floor, but they're not there for ringing up the purchase. This is all done by self-checkout. They are there to take care about the shelf management.
That's what we will end up anyway.
Yeah, that's efficient.
20 years time, because we just lack the staffing.
Yeah,
and only in stores.
Yeah. So I got the feeling that looking at the Netherlands from a German perspective is somehow like taking a glimpse into the future. So
a few years
what you say right now, would you agree that the most precious idea when you concentrate on checkout in retail is to take care of take care of theft prevention right now?
Definitely, and it's not only in the checkout area. Yeah, you have several ways of theft. The most common thing is putting stuff in your pocket or your bag without paying. And then you have the big cart and basket push outs. Yeah, and there's really good technology to prevent that. And still, also, if you have self checkout, that's the main way of theft. Still, just stealing things in the store area. And what we have added is theft in the checkout area. The regular checkouts, there's been theft for years.
Yeah.
Putting a crate of beer on the bottom, or keep stuff in your bag or in your shopping cart. It has been there. It's still there. There's also great computer vision solutions to tackle that. And then, of course, the self-checkout, also there, AI, computer vision. That's really the way forward to have 100% of the time, not someone, but the virtual someone looking at all your cameras and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
And the technology is there. And I'm really convinced in 5 years time, every security camera at large retailers will have AI.
Yeah.
Because you don't have staff to look at the security cameras all day. It's just not there. Police is doing it. Special forces are doing it. Airports are doing it, and we're going to do it also in retailers. It might sound a long way from now, but it's going to be there in years' time, maybe earlier. Yeah, we have the first pilots running.
Yeah.
And it's effective. It's more effective than the human eye.
It's funny because we've been talking about, the last time we were talking about the upcoming PS30 by Zebra, and we were talking about the idea of having a solution like Snapple that is relevant for in-app payment on the PS30, on the personal shopper directly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a good idea, but you will have to take care of theft prevention as well.
Yeah.
About such it is an efficient process, a really efficient process, because the customer can pay directly on the device. But then you will have some good ideas conceptually about theft prevention.
Yeah. The main thing, if you want to do on-device payment, you really have to do some geofencing or find another way to really have a fixed payment area where the employee can always look what's happening there live. So you have to work with some geofencing or other or simple ways, scanning a QR code at a certain area. And of course, first you have to lock your hand scanner before your transaction. Also, hand scanners get stolen.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrible, but
I don't know what they're doing with it. Looks like a nice kid's toy.
Yeah, cool. I want to have this at home. Yeah, it's completely locked.
We got one more comment from the audience. That is, Sander is right. He agreed. This is from Nicholas Forswell. It's even more true when it comes to mobile self-checkout, which I saw at Sweden. It depends very much on location of the store as well. So the idea or the history of theft doesn't begin in the store. This is what I see from this. It begins when you think about expansion management and where to open new stores. So this
it's partly true. The percentages of theft might vary, but also stores, I've talked to store owners, closed communities, really well-known customers drinking coffee with them every day, just steal stuff. And it breaks their heart, really, because in those small areas, they love their customers, just stealing from the store owner for years. And it's there. It has been growing. It will not stop. We really have to stop this, and there's enough to stop it.
That's, I think, a nice sentence to get to a close of this event. If you would like to hear more from Eelco and his experience and participate in what he's done in the past and what he is interested in to collaborate with retailers about theft prevention and other issues of checkout, you're welcome to connect with him on LinkedIn. I will let this on a little bit. Here's a QR code. I will send for the podcast listeners. You will find the link to Eelco's LinkedIn profile in the show notice. So yeah, it's been very short. I felt it like it was 10 minutes we've been talking.
We can continue for hours. I'm sure.
30 minutes. Eelco, it's really great that you've been on the show. You're welcome to come back. Maybe we'll make a round table with other participants about theft prevention in the future.
Nice.
I thought about it to invite some more experts in retail, even from retailers themselves, because this is what many shows lack of the participation of retailers. It's their voice that counts, and we're talking about their topics and their issues. So I will see if we can make it happen within the next 4 months, I think.
Great.
So, well, that's it for now. Check out the next episode. Stay tuned. I'm not sure what we will be talking about next month, but we'll probably invite another exciting guest. So this is it for now, and I wish you all a good day and a lot of theft-free time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.